A few months ago, Classically Abby posted some hot takes. Basically, that we all need to marry and have kids. No excuses. Unsurprising, but she did get some pushback for that, in her own comments no less. Now she's trying to back off on that a bit, but I'm not buying it. Hi, and welcome to, or back to my channel. I'm Kit, your friendly feminist cat lady spinster, and today we're going to talk about Classically Abby, sister of Ben Shapiro, first conservative influencer, and not infrequent topic on this channel. I was asked to check out Abby's latest video. I thought they were referring to her leftist lies, which we will also be discussing in the future, but no, 2 days after posting about the lies the left tells women, she posted another video, this time aimed at her single subscribers. From my commenter, please go watch Classically Abby's latest video and tell me what you think is going on with her. Do you think it's a stunt, or did the comments finally get to her nonstop? She seems, dare I say, less toxic in the video. If you're wondering what comments they're talking about, over the summer, Abby decided to double down on her marriage and children rhetoric. I want to say it was in the span of a week or two, where she declared that boyfriends, no matter how long you've known them, are strangers and you should have children no matter what because nothing else will give your life meaning. This got a lot of pushback, even from her own subscribers, and if you'd like to watch the videos in question, I'll link my commentary on them. So convenient I decided to do a double feature. It was almost like I knew. Anyway, I couldn't watch right away as I was in the boonies with my family and the internet there is not good. And you know, coming 2 days after her leftist lies video, I had some doubts. And it's really something. Even when she tries to backtrack, she just keeps, well, I was going to say telling on herself, but is it telling on herself when these are beliefs she's not ashamed of? She tries to soften her message, but let's just watch her video. And do not take a shot every time she says, yet. You will die. However, you can take a shot every time she says, eschew.
Now I have a playlist on my channel that I've called Sharing My Thoughts. And in this series of videos, I kind of just talk about the things I've been thinking about lately, and it's not to change anyone's mind. It's not here to convince you of anything.
Let's remember this moment. Abby shares her thoughts, but it's not to change minds or convince anyone of anything.
It's more to just start a conversation and see where other people are at.
I'm calling shenanigans on the notion that Abby wants to see where other people are at. She has no interest in hearing why someone doesn't want to be married or why someone doesn't want to have kids.
So today, I really want to talk to those of you who aren't married yet, who don't have children yet.
Notice the use of the word yet.
Who are still single. Maybe you're past the point in your life where you would get married and have children, and you are just single, and that is your life. And I really want to talk to you guys just about how you can still be classic, you can still be worthy, you can still have value. These are all true statements. And just how that fits into the classic, traditional perspective.
I don't want to spoil this for anyone, but there are some caveats about being traditional and classic and unmarried.
So let's just get right into it. So in a lot of my videos, I talk about the importance of having children, the importance of getting married, the importance of doing these traditional steps in life. And a lot of my content is geared toward those women who don't know that that's important.
But she's not here to change minds or convince anyone of anything.
Who think that being empowered is being independent.
Can someone please explain to me why a loud and proud conservative thinks a woman believing independence is empowering is a bad thing?
Who think that an abortion is better than having a child.
There is no mass movement that women should have abortions instead of children. Unlike pro-birth people, pro-choice people believe it's a personal choice a pregnant person makes, not something the government and all their neighbors get to weigh in on. And just because someone is pro-choice does not mean they would choose an abortion for themselves. It just means they understand that they don't get to make that decision for someone else. This is not a hard concept to grasp.
Who think that being in a long-term relationship that has no future and won't end in marriage or children is more empowering than getting married.
I guess it's not classic to talk about having children out of wedlock, so Abby has decided to ignore that you can have kids without being married. Anyway, it has occurred to me before that Abby has no concept of what a personal decision is, and here's an example. Someone might choose to be in a long-term relationship. Not everyone believes in marriage. The empowerment comes from that being their choice. Though I suspect Abby believes all women want marriage, so if she's unmarried but with a man for years and years, it must be because he's stringing her along and telling her this is empowering, instead of that being her choice. Abby's opinion of men and women is very low.
Having a stable life, raising a family, being part of community, that kind of a thing.
You can have a stable life, raise a family, and be part of a community without getting married. And I have to say, it's really weird to me how Abby pretends divorce doesn't exist. Marriage is not a guarantee, so even if you're determined not to divorce, you're not the only one who has a say.
So a lot of my content is geared towards those women who don't know that yet.
Granted, I was raised in the rural Rust Belt and it was a while ago, but it took me until I was 16 to realize kids were optional and about 25 to realize that marriage was optional. Abby, and conservatives in general, like to pretend otherwise, but marriage and kids are still the default for the majority. And I'm really tired of the narrative that women just do what they're told without giving it a second thought or considering if it's something they want or don't want. Cosmo told me marriage isn't empowering, so I'm not getting married, please.
But there are so many of you wonderful people in the comments who believe and agree with what I'm saying, but just it hasn't either worked out quite yet. You're still waiting. You're in a period of life before your marriage and before you've had children, and you just don't have these things yet.
So it's fine to be single and childless, provided you intend to change that and you understand how important it is to be married and have children.
And my worry is that because I make this content, which is geared toward convincing those women who yet don't know that this is so important.
I thought she wasn't here to convince anyone of anything. Did I mishear?
It could make somebody who is not in that stage of life feel like they don't have value or their life at this point isn't worthy.
If she didn't outright say, your life has no value without children, she said something similar in one or both of those videos this summer, so yes, I can see where her subscribers might get the idea that they're not valuable if they do not yet have children, even if they're only 16.
And what I really want to clarify is that if you know that these things are important, if you agree that a traditional stable marriage and life and family is the building block of society and civilization, if you know that these are important things and you're just not there yet, you just haven't met the right guy, you may be struggling with infertility, whatever it is, you have value. You are worthy.
And there we have it. If you haven't met the right person yet, it's okay to be single. If you're struggling with infertility, it's okay to be childless. If you understand how important marriage and children are, you still have value. But if you don't want to be married, don't want children, and don't believe people have to marry and have kids, well, Abby isn't going to say you have no value, but the implication is clear. And given all the other nonsense she spouted from her palace of privilege, I'm not inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt. Actually, no. Abby has been quite clear that marriage and kids are important, and if you disagree, you're responsible for the downfall of society. So I'm just taking her at her word. She's sparing a moment to encourage her subscribers who haven't gotten married or had kids yet, but her core beliefs remain the same.
If you have the right intentions and you're just not there yet, or your path has gone in a different direction, but you know the importance of these things, then that's what matters. That's the important thing. I am encouraging women away from making bad decisions that'll hurt them.
And what exactly gives Abby the license to declare that she knows better than the person in question what is good for them? Also, she assumes that marriage and children are good for everyone, and we know that's not true.
But there's a difference between making bad choices and being led in a different direction by God. So I should differentiate a little bit between the two different groups I'm addressing in this video. So there's the women who are young and single and who haven't yet found the right guy, but would like to and would like to have a family. Okay, that's one group. The second group is those women who maybe are past the point of childbearing years, have never gotten married, would have wanted to, but that just didn't end up happening for them.
At what age is one too old for marriage?
And now they're living a different life. Both of those kinds of women have an incredibly beautiful life. And I think that it's really important to understand that it's not you making a choice away from these values we hold so dear, it's just not the right timing, or it's being led in a different direction. And that is a beautiful thing.
And again, it's okay to be single and childless, provided you understand how important those things are and want them in the future, or wanted them in the past, but for one reason or another, it didn't work out. Simply not wanting marriage and kids for yourself is not acceptable. And Abby is very clever by not outright stating that in this video. And I think this is a good time to remind everyone watching that Abby does believe you marry for duty and tradition.
So for those of you who are still single, are still waiting on meeting the right guy, who haven't had children yet, the thing to keep in mind there is that it's so important to enjoy every juncture in your life. Being grateful to God and enjoying this part of your life where you are single, where you can take time to develop your interests, develop yourself, make yourself a wonderful person, volunteer, date and meet people so that you can find the right guy. That's a great part of your life. Those years are invaluable and really beautiful and important.
At least I can agree with Abby on something. It's always hard to remember when you're eager to get to the next phase, but in the future, you'll miss where you currently are. So enjoy it while you're there.
And on the other side, for those women who are a little bit past that point, maybe just never met the right guy, but still have an open heart, I think that's what's so important. Keeping an open heart and an open mind.
There is something quietly amusing about someone so devotedly conservative saying an open mind is important.
But not hating where you are, enjoying where you are, loving where you are. It's sort of like body positivity. The bad version of body positivity is I don't want to hate my body because my body is a beautiful thing and it does so much for me, but in doing that, I'm not going to work hard to better my body. So even if I'm obese, I'm not going to lose weight because I love my body. Or even if I'm anorexic, I'm not going to work on that condition and make myself a healthy weight. The good version of body positivity is I love my body because of what it does for me, and because of that, I want to work hard to make it healthy. Now, does that mean I have to hate what my body is right now? No. Do I have to hate weight loss? Absolutely not. It's just I constantly want to improve it and make it better so that I'm healthy. The same is true with dating and marriage and children. If you hate where you're at, then you're not being grateful to God for the life that you're living. But you can't love where you're at so much, love that is it, that you eschew what those traditional values could lead you to.
I love this. Don't hate where you are because then you're not being grateful to God. But also don't love where you are because then you might try to avoid marriage.
So even if you think you're past the point of getting married or past the point of maybe not having your own children, but fostering or being involved in your nieces and nephews' lives or the children in your community's lives.
It's wild to me how Abby, who is very vocal about her pro-birth beliefs, never advocates for adoption.
Even if you think you're past that point, keeping an open heart and open mind without saying, I hate where I'm at, just by saying, I love where I'm at, but if God gives me an opportunity for something different, I'm open to that. That is a beautifully positive thing. I think what I really want to say is that you are as beautiful, valuable, worthy, married, with children as you are when you're single and you don't have children yet.
Another yet.
Because really the thing about it is if you accept the main tenets of these traditional values as truth. And if you do, and you just haven't reached that point yet, that's totally fine.
You're either married with children or you're going to be married with children. Well, nice isn't really what comes to mind, but it's something of her to try and assure her single, unchilded subscribers that they're still valuable. But it still comes down to her traditional values. You're either going to be married with children or you wanted to be, but something prevented it. And if you don't want to be, for whatever reason, you are not worthy and you are not valuable. I highly doubt Abby will ever come right out and say that, though you never know. I was surprised when she asked what else you would do if you didn't have kids, so there's always room for her to surprise me. But I see her trying to carefully tiptoe around outright stating that, whilst also giving that clear impression to her subscribers that if you share her beliefs, you're still worthy even if you haven't fulfilled them, whereas you're unworthy if you don't. She is also giving her subscribers license to look down on single people and people without kids, but I think a lot of conservatism is feeling as though you're better than others, so that's not surprising.
There's a reason you are where God put you. I mean, trust in God is really the way I have been able to navigate so many hard times in my life, and also been able to navigate those times where I wanted something, but God wanted something different for me. And I think that's really what it comes down to. So if you can enjoy where you are, love where you are, while also trusting God's vision and path for you, then you're doing it all right.
Abby's world is so narrow. Everyone is cis and straight, and everyone also believes in God. What about those of us who are happy with where we're at, but don't believe in a God and thus don't trust in his path? I also don't believe in marriage, though, so perhaps that would translate to Abby as her God doing the world a favor.
Like, just love where you're at. Enjoy it. Keep an open heart, but enjoy what you're doing. That's what I think is the most important thing. So I want you to know, if you ever see a video that I post or write an article that I write that says how important motherhood, marriage, traditional lives are, but you haven't been able to accomplish it, or you're not there yet, it's not to undermine where you are. It's to teach those women who don't yet know the importance of these things not to purposefully move in the wrong direction.
There's just something really pretentious about a woman in her 20s claiming she's going to teach women about the importance of marriage when she married her husband after knowing him for a year, and motherhood when her baby is less than a year old. It's also the height of hubris to think that you know what the wrong direction is for people you don't even know.
So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'd really like to know your comments down below. I have to say, I loved my single life. I really did. I thought that there was so much fun that you can do. Now, being a mom and being married, the timing of your day is so much led by your child and your husband, and you just don't have as much freedom as you did, and that's okay. It's a beautiful thing, but it is different than what you had when you were 21 or 22, and so enjoying those years where you can do whatever you want on your schedule is really important. Like, that's a wonderful time in your life. So cool. And if you are older and you are, not getting married and not having children, but you have developed a really beautiful relationship with God, with your community, with your family, that's awesome. Maybe you are doing something with your work that's really important and that's really bringing joy and happiness and goodness into the world. That's amazing.
Finally, Abby gives us permission to remain unwed. Oh, wait.
I don't think that you should eschew family for work in order to give that joy to people outside of your home. But if that didn't end up working out for you, where you have children, where you are raising a family, why not share those gifts with people outside of the home? Absolutely. That is what God wanted you to do, clearly.
How gracious of Abby to give us permission to work and share our gifts outside the home if marriage and motherhood don't work out. Abby is great at coming off as earnest and sincere, isn't she? But if she didn't push marriage and motherhood so hard, she wouldn't have had to make this video. For that matter, she still pushed marriage and motherhood in this video, the one assuring those who are single without kids that they still have value, so long as those things are or were desired. And, well, traditional family life is her thing, so I doubt she'll back off in the future. And to be honest, I doubt she cares if she's making some people feel bad. She thinks she's saving America by pushing people toward marriage. Abby talks about saving women from harm, but she's actually harming women. It is a bit ironic, isn't it? She claims she's saving women by pushing them into marriage and motherhood, whether they want it or not. Just like she claims she's saving babies by promoting laws that make abortion illegal. Never mind what the child's life will be. At least it's born, right? I don't understand her. I do think she's sincere, but I'm having a hard time fathoming such simplistic thinking. I know she's privileged, I've done 2 videos about that, but she grew up in LA and lived in New York City. She has to know life isn't sunshine and roses. Though, now that I'm thinking about it, she did recommend How to Raise a Conservative Daughter last year, which advises taking your daughter to soup kitchens and the like so she can appreciate her privilege. Actually, I think it was appreciating her gifts or whatever, because conservatives are very resistant to the idea that they have privilege. But anyway, that's a very controlled way to show that life doesn't always turn out great, so maybe she really isn't aware, but she is a grown adult. And that's it for this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I would like to thank my patrons, and if you would like to help support the channel, my Patreon is linked below along with everything else. Commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing are also great ways to show your support if you want to. Have a great day, night, whenever you happen to be watching this, and fade to cats.